So my report will be get generated at extend report folder. So I've just given this path somewhere. I will just show you that as well. So I'm just opening this report into the Chrome browser. Now see, this is an extend report actually. So how many test cases are passed? 1 test case is passed and 3 are failed. Okay. So whenever test case is passing, we will get this message, valid test case name and status is passed. Okay. And whenever test case is failing, we will get this cross icon and we will get this error message. We can expand that and we can see what error message we got. And we will also get a screenshot on which our test case got failed. I'm just scrolling down. You can see my test case got failed at this page. So this page means this screenshot also got attached to the test case level. Okay, and this report also show you the summary. It's a dashboard. How many test cases got passed? For example, there are 4 test cases. Out of that, 25 are passed. And what is the time duration? It's a 56-second total duration. So you can see this graph as well in the extent by default. You don't have to write code for this. Okay, fine. And what exception you got? This is a list of exception for all the test cases which we got in the one run, one execution. Okay, so we can simply go for this. We got assertion error for all the test cases. So this is a common exception for all the test cases. That is a meaning of this report. This exception. Okay. Then test. We see earlier. This is the test cases. Okay, these are the 4 test cases got run. So this is overall extent report looks like.
Can you show it again from where you taken the link in Eclipse?
No. Actually, I will just implement that. Initially, I'm just telling you the overview. Just think about this UI only. Okay. Okay. Now I will just implement the code, so we will get this report in our project.
Okay.
Yeah. Fine. So yeah. So first, before going for the report, we will just look for the screenshot. Okay. So because we are including screenshot in our report. So how to take a screenshot? So there is one interface called as a text screenshot. So we can use that. We can cast our driver into text screenshot, and we can use simply this code. That reference of the text screenshot dot get screenshot as output dot file. So in source, we will get the file that screenshot actually. So this source we have to copy it to somewhere actual folder. So because this source is stored as temporary file. So if you think about this part actually, there are some temporary files in our system. I'll just open it if it is present in my system. Suppose this is a temp folder, right? So everything we are doing, it's temporarily saved at this folder. So what this code will do, it will simply create a screenshot, copy the screenshot from the application, and it will store it at this common path, a temp path. Okay, so we have to copy this and paste it into our framework, means it any folder actually in our framework. We can see, suppose we are just copying the screenshot at this screenshot folder. So it will just, we can just open it later. Okay, so I'll just show the code for that as well first, how to take a screenshot. So I'm just referring the another project. Yeah. Now forget about this method. I will just explain this later. First, talk about this text screenshot. Okay. For text screenshot, we need 2 parameters. First is a driver. Means actually we need a driver, right? Web driver. So based on that, we can take a screenshot, and then screenshot name you have to provide. So first, I have just taken the date, because if you are executing test case, we have to identify date and time as well. Okay, so you can see it's a date and time as well in this format. So whenever we are taking screenshot, it will be in format like this. I'm just explaining this. So you can see screenshot name, date and time as well, .png. Now this is the second line, line number 44. It's a text screenshot is a interface. We are casting our driver to the take a screenshot to take a actual screenshot. Okay. and we are simply using this code ts.get screenshot as. You have to remember this method. Okay, you can just see the description of this. Capture the screenshot and store into the specified location. Specified means it's in temporary folder. Okay, now our task is to copy that source, the temporary file to our actual folder from the any folder. It can be any folder from our project. Okay, so we are just providing the path here in the destination where actually we want to store that PNG file, screenshot file. So we have just created one path here. Simple. I have created object to the file, and I am just using the file utils dot copy file. What it will do, it will just copy this file from temporary to our actual destination from in the project. That's it. Code from the take a screenshot. Any doubts here in this code? Take screenshot.
Yes, sir. It is not clear.
Actually, if you want to take a screenshot, we have to use these two lines of code. It will simply
Yes,
take
sir.
a screenshot at temporary folder, this folder.
So, sir, every time it go to the temporary folder when we take a screenshot, or we can
No.
change
It
the
will
source.
take a screenshot and it will save it to the temp folder.
Okay.
And then from temp folder, we have to copy that screenshot and we have to place somewhere in our project so that we can use it for the reporting purpose later.
Okay.
Okay, that is the intention of this code. So only you have to remember this much code. Okay, remember last thing you can remember by default. Actually, we have to copy the source file to the destination folder. Got it? Okay.
Why you
So
have
this is
this line number 43?
43. You can see we are. You can suppose if you are executing test case, and within a second, it's not second, within a minute, we are taking a 4 screenshot. Okay, so that is not uniquely identified. So ideally, to identify the unique screenshot, we have to append the date plus time as well. So that's why we have created this date time format here. It will just return the format like this. Suppose YY is year, month, day, and hours, minute, and second as well. So screenshot name will be unique. We are using this date name here in the destination. So screenshot name, you can see the screenshot name here. This is screenshot name, screenshot underscore login test for invalid credential. And then we are appending this 2021. This is this format actually, you can see. If you are not providing this, the old screenshot will be overridden with the new one.
And what does dot format new date does this?
Actually, it is a format to suppose it will simply return the date format actually in this.
So is this the syntax for
It's a syntax for getting the actual date, real date from system.
Okay, so you store this syntax in date time to get the date and time of the screenshot, correct?
Yes,
After
yes,
that,
yes.
you took screenshot and which is upcasted because of the its type, and
Yes.
you stored it in a source. Then for the destination, system.get property, then you user.directory. What is this user.directory?
User directory, it will simply return the path till this actual project. So I'm just open this. It will simply return this path. The output of the system.get property user dir, it's again the inbuilt functions from the Java. So it will simply return the actual path of your project. So it will just go to d user, then ycarcule, then git ssweb. This is actually my physical location of my project. Inside
Okay.
that it will just look for the test output,
Okay.
then extend report, then screenshot. Okay, so you can see now it's in my base ssweb. Then it will look for the test output. Here it is, right? So again it will go for the extend report like this here. And in extend report, it will just create one folder screenshot here. and in that screenshot folder, it will save this actual screenshot.
So for saving in your folder, you have given the format, name format saving. That is the screenshot name plus underscore plus date time.
Yes, right.
Sir, can you explain the flow again from test output extension report?
Okay, fine. So here, if you're not passing this, this is optional. I will tell you, this is optional. But what will it will happen if you are taking multiple screenshot with the same name? It will override. That's why we are using this. So this is to use. It will just make our screenshot name as a unique, because every time seconds are changing, right? Suppose first screenshot I have taken at 2052. The next time if I'm taking screenshot, it will be ending with 2056 or 2057. So this is used to make our screenshot name as a unique. So first line uses that. You can see we are using this date name here when we are actually putting screenshot to the destination.
Sir, is it storing the data? This data string data name is equals to line number 43.
It will just return the current date and current time in this format.
A screenshot file.
Means sir, this is not storing the data. I think this is storing, because it will give you the
Simply
list of data.
wait.
Right?
I'll just debug the code. Wait.
It's not storing the data. It's just giving the date and time when you're taking the screenshot, I think.
Yes.
Here you can see that a screenshot folder, snapshot, then time is date and viewing with this.
I'll put the breakpoint there. Let me execute the code. Breakpoint. Yeah. It is simply returning some string which is containing the date and time to make a screenshot name as a unique. Now you can see the output of this will be, I'm just taking into the watch. You can see this is the output. Now you can see the current date and time. It's a 2020 05 23 and time is 10 22 and 28. These are the, just copy this. Yeah, here you can see now it's a 10 22 is a minute and 28 is a second. This is simply create a unique screenshot for us. This is just taking the values from the system.
Yes, sir. So that name is a variable that is store a date of that screenshot. Then we use a screenshot name.
Don't talk
plus,
about screenshot. Screenshot here we are taking actual screenshot, but
yes, sir.
to make the screenshot unique, we are using this date name actually.
Yes, sir. Plus date name is gives a date of the screenshot value taken.
Yes.
Then it's format.png.
Yes, right. So here it's simply taken the date. Now it will take a screenshot.
So that test output folder we create by ourselves, or we just
It will automatically
write,
get created.
okay. When we write in there user.directly plus / test output,
Yes.
then extend report, then it's automatically created.
Automatically get created. Yes.
Then here in file destination, we create a variable where we store new file destination.
Yes.
Then files util the copy files, here is source. Then file destination we pass parameter.
It's from this path to this path. You have to copy the screenshot. Right? Because destination is what? Destination is file path plus this folder structure till the .png. Means simply it will look for this actual path, whole path. It will simply copy our original file, the source file, to this location.
Can you show that screenshot name here in left window?
Yeah. Left window. Yep. Okay.
You're in the debug window. So
yeah, I got it.
So in method, you pass two parameter driver and screenshot name.
You got it, Diksha?
I got it, because see the screenshot it is taking. I understand where this is, it's taking the name login test for invalid credential.
It's a test name. Screenshot name you are passing actually. You can see.
Name.
Now again I will go to the debug mode. Yeah, fine.
This screenshot name from where we are passing, from which
Yes. Forget about that part. I will just explain it again. Now consider we are just copying screenshot from one position to another position. Actually, we have written this in the listener. So in listener, we are just taking the test case name as well. Okay, and we are passing it here in the screenshot name. Okay, so you got how to take a screenshot. Then I can go ahead and I can just implement the listener, and then again I will debug the code, and I will just come to here, and then you can ask the question.
I got it, how to get the screenshot.
Okay, then that's fine. Actually, this code is important here. Okay.
Yeah.
How to take a screenshot. Okay, fine.
But that screenshot name variable parameter that you pass, where it is?
Simply just consider it's a method, right? So you can
Yes.
consider it's anything for now. I will just put this code somewhere else in the listener, and then we'll pass the screenshot name there. So don't think about this parameter as of now, from where it is coming. Just understand what is written in this code.
Yes, sir. Yes.
I will just call this method somewhere else, and just I will tell you how to pass this two parameter, and then you will come to know from where we get this. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. I'm just stopping the execution. Okay, so this is about this text screenshot. Yeah. Now for generating the extend report, we need dependency. So you can just see this dependency from the group ID event stack, and you can take any version. So there will be reminder dependency if you are taking a different version as well. Okay. So I already copied this dependency to our existing project. This is a project. I will show you the dependency in the pom.xml. Where is the pom.x? Yeah, this is pom.xml. You can see this dependency I have added in the morning only. Okay. So now what will I do? Yeah, this is the dependency, and then yeah, that's fine.
In Maven repository, what we need to search? Extend reports?
Yes, extend report. Yeah. Now I will just Google it out and I will show you. Yeah, that's fine. Good question. You might get confused there.
So for test ng.
No, test engine different thing. Don't compare the tools. Extend report is a different thing. Test engine different thing.
Then what does this report do? Extend reports find out which report?
For
Test
failure
engine
or
report is
success.
different. We get the report from test engine as well, but that is very simple. So we usually don't prefer that report. Okay, if you want some advanced reports, actually I showed you one report as well here. In the graphical format, in its readable format, it looks and feel also good here. So if you want to create report in this way, we have to implement this extend report.
Oh, this is an extend report, right?
This is the extend report. Yes.
Okay.
That's why I showed you in earlier. This is the extend report. Actually, we will get view in this way.
How many test cases of passes and fail?
Yes.
Okay, sir.
And how many which exception we got frequently in our test cases. That all the things we will get here. Okay, this is a test case. Again, this is from which suit. This is a class name. This is the actual test case name. Start time, end time, how many time is taken for execution. All the information you will get in this report. Okay, so extend report here. You're not getting in this way. So let's take A1. Extend report. We're getting the frame dependencies here. I'm just googling out extend dependency. It's a MVN. this is from the relevant code. We can copy this as well. There will be again a very minor difference. Yeah, you can see, I think, yeah. No, this is fine actually. This artifact was moved to this one, com.eventstack extend report. So I'm clicking it here. So you can take any version from here. Okay, so it is, you have to remember this is a com.eventstack extend report. So you can take any latest version, you can add the dependency there in our com.xml. Got this, Diksha?
Yes, got it.
In some cases, if you're searching here in the event repository, you won't get that proper which we are expecting actually. So we can simply Google out and we can just open the event repository link there. So we'll get that proper
Okay.
repository, proper dependency. Okay. So once we have added this, so we can go ahead and implement that. This is now I have created one class here, extend report manager. So in extend report manager, there are three classes basically. This is first is a event spark reporter, or we can use another reporter as well. I will just comment it out. I will just write second one. You have to remember this thing. Okay, or you can Google it out if you want to implement, or if you're not getting concept. Event reporter. Okay, so you can either use this extend reporter or you can use extend spark reporter. Okay, but in the extend spark reporter, we are getting good UI. That's why I'm using this extend spark reporter. I'm commenting it out again, extend reporter. And then in extend reporter, we have to use again one more class, which is the extend reports. Again, you will get a code here as well directly. If you want to use extend report, you will get code written in the description itself.
Are the default methods present in that?
Pardon?
Are the default methods?
Yes, there are some default method. These are the classes actually. These are not a method. These are the classes.
Extend Spark Reporter is the class. Okay.
Yeah, you can see it C on the top. You can see it here. It's a CMS class.
Okay. So
In
when we give the dependency of extend this, then this we get in this automatically.
Yes,
correct?
yes. You can see it here on the where it is. Yeah, here you can see it's a Evenstack extend reporter. It's from the dependency. You can read it here. The package name will be similar to the dependency. Okay, whenever we are giving the dependency, this option we will see. These classes we can import from that dependency. These three classes. First is the event spark reporter. Second is extend report, and third is the extend test. Okay.
This all are for what? For UI purpose.
Yes. It is suppose now this extend reporter means what? It is just generating the whole report. Let me just show it. Yeah, it will simply create this structure, this options, test, exception, dashboard. Okay, this extend report, this everything which is outside, it will be created by using this HTML reporter. Okay, then if you think about extend report, it handles these things actually, the test suits. Okay, whole state. Suppose this is a test name, this is passed or failed. This icon will be managed here in this extend report internally. And what is this extend test? It will actually write the steps inside this test. Suppose this is the first test. So I have printed this valid test passed, this page loaded. This internal things will be handled by this extend test. This is the high level structure of this extend report.
What if we don't give these classes? Then how we will get the report?
No, then we won't get report. This is the mandatory to implement in our project. Then only we will get the report. If you are not using this, why we are just taking the dependency? We are taking dependency so that we can implement this into our project.
Okay.
So again, you don't have to remember this code. If you're not aware of this much, you can simply Google out how to get the report from the Eventstack extend report. You can simply get this code on the Google ready-made. You don't have to worry about this part. Only you should know how to integrate this code to your framework, to your code. That's it. And how to call it whenever you require that. Again, everything you should not, you cannot remember this everything. That's why actually I have also written this code somewhere else in another project, and I will simply copy this code and paste it in our project, and I will just execute that, our script, and I will show you the report, how it generates. Only you should know these are the classes: HTML reporter, this event spark reporter, extend reports, and this extend test, and how it can be used. You can see we are just getting some example as well in the description. If you make the test case fail pass, or if you simply pass some information in the report, we can simply use this test.log, test.pass, and we can just simply put some comments or some plain text there in the report.
Okay.
Okay, fine. So at first stage, we will simply initialize this report. Okay, so this is a common method. This is one method, not a common method. This is one method which can be used to just simply it will, if you call this method, this highlighted method, it will simply create one blank report without these test cases. Okay, so I will just show you. First, again, I have taken the date. Again, it will just create a unique report. That's why I've taken a date. Then report path, where actually I want to put the report. Okay, so report where I put, this is my project path. User directory means it will steal the project path, then test output, extend report folder. And then my report name will be automation report underscore today's date dot html. This will be my path, actual path of the report. Okay, so again I'm repeating, again I'm going to line number 21. So this is a class, right? Extend spark reporter. So I have to create an object of this class, then only I can access the method inside it. So at line number 33, I have again created the object of that. Okay, and when we are creating the object of the extend spark reporter, it is just expecting the path as well, where actually we want to put that reporter file, that report file. Okay, so earlier in line number 29, we have created report path, and we are just passing it here, because event spark reporter has a constructor. You can see it here. It's expecting path, where actually the folder should be created, that HTML file should be created. So we have to compulsory pass the path in this class. Okay, so now simply we have created the class HTML reporter, and we are using some methods from this class, like config.set document title. So it will be automation report. Now I will just open the report again. You can see on the top, it's automation report. It's automation report because we have provided in this format. Okay, if you change this, it will just change in the report as well in the top. Okay, this is again customization we are doing at our level. Then again HTML reporter .config .set name and theme. There are two types, standard and dark. Now this is a standard. Standard means it's in white color. Okay, so if you want in black color, we can just choose the dark. It will just change the color. Okay, I'm just keeping it as a standard now. Okay, so we are done with the first class, which is the extend spark reporter. Now again, this is a customization done for this event spark reporter. Now for the second class, okay, this extend report. Now again, I will create object of this extend report. Simple. I have created object, right? We don't have to pass anything because there is no parameterized constructor inside this class. And simply there is one method, extend report, this object that we have created, dot attach reporter. Which reporter we have to attach? The previous one that we have created for the extend spark reporter. That's it. We have done with these two classes here in this method. Any question here?
So the HTML.
Yeah.
HTML reporter we create in first class, extend spark reporters that we using in second class extend report.
No. This is not a class. This is a method. This is a method. Create report.
So
Actually,
that
we can create actually simply. I'm just commenting this line.
yes sir, it is a method.
I can do in this way as well, but it will be local and it will be limited to this method only. But
Yes,
what
sir.
if I want to use across all the test cases or across a project? So I'm just making this as a global. That's why I will not initialize it here. I'm just initializing at top.
Yes, I can understand. I'm just asking at HTML reporter that use we inside that. At
Mhm.
test dot reporter it is same, right? First we create HTML reporter, then we use an attach that reporter.
Yes, yes, right. You have to remember the syntax, or you
Yes.
will get a syntax here itself. If you mouse over on the extend report, you will get a syntax here. Okay. So this is the first line. There is no path provided, so it will just create at the root. And forget about the second line. If you write a second line, when we are opening the report, it will just open in this format. Actually, suppose this is my path, it will just open in this format. Suppose it will just open localhost. It will just hit what will I say? It will just make the local server up, localhost colon 8080 // in this format. It will get open. We don't want that actually. In some cases it will not open. That's why we are not providing any. We are not just opening. We are not providing any localhost server in the local. So we can just keep this line, this second line. Okay, and then we have created the object of this extend reports as it is in our code as well. And we are just doing extend dot attach reporter, and we are just passing this first parameter only, HTML. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Because this is used globally, you don't need to have remember this code. You can simply mouse over on these classes and you can just implement code as it is in your framework.
So that thread local extend test. What
Yeah,
is
yeah.
this?
Simply instead of this line, I can write in this way as well. This is also class extend test, and this is the reference for that or object.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I can write in this way as well. But in some cases we get null pointer exception while creating the log. Okay,
Yes.
so this is just a way to create a thread for extend test. You might have heard about the multi-threading, right?
Yes,
In
sir.
the Java.
Yes,
So
sir.
we are not doing here multi-threading, but we are just creating a single thread to to create a report. Okay, so for every classes you can do this. That's not an issue. But in some cases I got null pointer exception, so that's why I've created one thread here. So it will be dedicated only for creating a report.
If we don't create that thread, then what will happen? It gives null pointer exception.
Yeah, at some point, if I got null pointer exception at different point. So I think it got interrupted in between. So I thought that I need dedicated thread to generate our report. That's why I just created this thread here.
Okay, so for every report we have to create one thread in it.
No. For every report, this is a global. If you using this extend report manager, it will automatically get created. You don't have to write this code everywhere.
Okay.
This is the one-time thing.
Okay.
Okay, so now we have initialized this HTML reporter and extend report in this class. This is extend report manager, and this extend test, which will be actually printing this code inside these test cases. This one, this page loaded or valid test case passed. It will be done at different class level. Okay, so I'll just show that as well here. So this is clear. In the extend report manager, only two methods are there, which is the one is a create report and second is a take a screenshot. Okay, so take a screenshot we will also use in listener. That I will just debug the code and I will show you how actually it works. Okay, I'm deleting this extend report folder for now to avoid the confusion. So now I'm just implementing the listener now. So you can see it's a test listener. Okay, this is fine. I'll simply copy this code to our project and then I will just write step by step. Otherwise you will get confused there. Okay, so I'm just copying that extend report manager code only to our project, which is in the utilities. Yes, here, not utilities. Yeah, here only. I'm going to our project. This is our project. I think I have to already put that. Okay, fine. Okay. Yeah, this is our project on which we are working earlier. This is a class attribute and dynamic ID page. Okay. So I've copied this code to our project. This create report method and this take screenshot method. Now I will just simply implement the was delete all the code. Okay. So I have showed earlier how to implement the listeners, right? So this is iTest listener. We are going to use it here. Now I'm going to implement all the methods in this iTest listener. Source, override, implement methods. So I am just take all the methods. Okay. Now here we can see multiple methods: on test start, on test success, on test failure, on test skipped. Okay. I'm deleting this too. We are not going to use this on test failed, but within a success percentage, on test failed, but with timeout. I'm deleting these methods. And this is on start and on finish. Means before execution started, means suppose you have triggered the execution. After just triggering the execution, what should happen? That we will put it here.
Sir,
Yeah.
using this override method, what we did, right click, then to get override the method, please.
Have you implemented the interface right earlier?
Yes, sir.
So these are the method from this interface itself.
Yes, sir.
You can see on test start, on test success, on test failure.
Sir, I know. Right click, then go somewhere to create that override method.
Yeah, right click and source and then override implement methods. This is the option. Actually, previously it was showing the error in the previous version of this test ng, but now what happened? The iTest listener is implemented by using this default keyword. Whenever we are using the default keyword in the listen in the interface, we are not getting error to implement method forcefully. That's why I'm using this method now. Right click, source, and then override. Okay. So now this is also not required. I'm just deleting all the code from inside method. Again, we are implementing the extend report only by using this listener. I will show you how. Now see, now we want to generate the report. But when first on start, when the execution just started, we should initialize the object, okay, for generating the report. And when our test case got success, we should print something, the test case got passed. When test case is failing, we should print test case is failed, plus we should take a screenshot. We know that, right? So at on start, I'm just copying the code to initialize the that create report from the extend report manager. Okay, here this method we have to call in the on start of listener. I'm just looking at old code. Going inside the test listener in our project. We have just initialized the report in the on start. I mean, whenever execution started, we just we are just initializing this object. Okay, return type is extend report. Okay, this is return type extend report. So simply I have assigned it to the extend report itself. Then second, on test pass and on test success, what we have to do? Yeah, on test case start. You can see on test case start will be executed before each test case start. So I'm just copying this code again. Again, you don't have to remember everything. You can just Google it out. This is again one-time effort. Okay, in extend report, there is one method create test. This create test will simply type the method name. It will just fetch the test case name from actual test case. Okay, so we'll debug all this code and then we will show how it actually print the log. Then I'm going for the test case failure. You should know the architecture, means how actually it works. You should not go inside much to the code actually. You will get this code everywhere. On test success. Then on test skip also we are printing something. We are just printing test case skipped. We might get some error. We will resolve that as well. Then when our test case execution done, completed, at the end we have to make extend report. We have to use the flush method. So our report will get generated. Otherwise, it will not get generated. We are not using this flush method. You can see at line number 83. And finish. Okay, now we got one error. Now we are when we are taking the screenshot, we are expecting driver should be initialized here, means should be used here. So I know I have to put the driver into the base test case. So I will just use base test case dot driver. It will resolve all problem.
It's ambiguity over here, right?
Where?
The previous driver, it was unable to detect which driver he wants, right?
No, actually I have copied from another project. So there actually I have initialized driver some another place. That's why it is giving the error. Now
Okay.
I know. Yeah, I know that I have initialized driver in the base test case. So I have just put this in the base test case.
Okay.
Now I'll execute the code and I'll just debug the code and I will show you. Before that, I will just explain few methods from this. So yeah, first, yeah. So whenever we're implementing ITest listener, we are getting this ITest result and result. Okay. So for time being, I'm just putting this result dot. You can see there are multiple methods actually in this result. So we can get host. Host means actually system name. Okay. So get instance means which current instance is running. This instance name dot get, no, not get, instance name. I think it should be the test case name. No, actually get method actually the method name, our test case name. Then status, what is the status of result, means if it is a pass or failed. So we can use this get status method there. Get throwable means it will just simply print the stack trace for us. So few method just you have to remember from this result. Actually ITest result is again interface. I stands for interface. Okay. So here at whenever our test case execution start, we have to create a test. This create test method in the extend report, and we have to provide the test case name there. Okay. Then we are using the extend report dot extend test and set method is there. So we have to provide this set test here as it is expecting parameter as a test. So it will just create the test case name. You can see in the UI. This is a test name actually, web test suite dot login test and valid test. This will be done by this line of code, line number 23 and line number 21, 22 as well. Okay. When our test case got success, means passed, this method by default will get called. Okay. Suppose we are using data provider from the test ng. So one test case will be get executed multiple times. Or if you have provided 10 data, it will just executed for 10 times. So in that case, this first if condition will be called, because it is just we are just checking if get parameter length greater than 0. Okay. But by default, whenever we are executing test case one time, this else part will get executed. Okay. So now I have told you how to print the, now you can see how it is getting printed now. Okay, this inside things. So for that purpose, we are just doing extend test. Extend test means which one? The last one. I will just go to the here. This one, extend test. This extend test dot get dot log. If it is, now we are in the success block. For sure, we know the test case got passed. So we can simply pass status dot log, and second parameter. This is a markup on actually. So it will simply, this will print the test case name, markup helper dot create a label, result dot get method name, means it will just print the test case name, then test case passed, and then it will be in green color. Okay, this is again high level. Same for the failure. We are just copying this code and pasting it here for the failure. You can see, but only we are changing status fail, and we are just creating label, method name, then test case failed and color with red. This is fine. Then again, we are just printing these few more things, extend report manager, extend test dot get fail, and this we are just printing the sentence. And yeah, and we are by using this line, suppose get dot log status fail and result dot get throwable. What it will do, it will simply give the throwable, means this part actually, this one. This will be printed by using this line of code, line number 50. Now we know that our test case got failed, so we have to take a screenshot. So now we have written the method earlier. So to write it to take a screenshot, so that method will be called here. We have written that method into the extend report manager. This is the method. We can see that this is the method. Okay. Now here we are passing the driver first, and then method name. From here actually we are getting the method name, and it will be appended at the start of the screenshot name. In some cases, we might get some exception here, because if you are trying to taking the screenshot, but browser got closed. So that's why we put this code into the try catch block here. Okay. And we are just printing some few more log here, extend report manager, extend test, get, fail, test case fail, click below, screenshot to view. So this line will print this line, take test case fail, click below, screenshot to view. Okay, and screenshot is attached below. So how to attach this below screenshot? There is one method, the extend test dot get add screen capture from path, and this screenshot path. So this screenshot path we already initialized at line number 54. Okay, so this is for the test case failure. So whenever our test case is failing, it will automatically take a screenshot, and it will simply attach to the test case. Now on test case skipped, we will again using the same code, extend test dot get log status as skipped, and then markup language we are just printing test case skipped and color as orange. Color orange means this one actually. Yeah, this orange color actually. This is not red actually. I think test case got failed. Now this is red. Fine. Okay, so we are just changing the color, and at the end, when the test case execution is done, completed, so we are just using the extend report dot flush, this method. So now what will I do? I'll just simply put the debug everywhere in each and every method, and we'll simply see what is happening. But you should know where you can keep the screenshot code. You can keep it anywhere, but you have to call that into this on test failure, this method of this listener. I'll put debug on every method. Now I will execute the code. I will execute this class. These both the test cases are expected to be passed. Okay. So first we will see the positive scenario passed, and then we'll go for the next failure scenario. Debug as. test ng test. Just now our execution got started. We can see just before that, I think I have already put, yeah, you can see I have already put this listener at that listener, test listener that we have implemented. Just now you can see we have implemented this test listener class. Okay, so I'm just copy this name and I will just use at the listener annotation test listener dot class. This is syntax to call the listener. Okay, so then only our test case will, I think this, we are executing this class attribute. Okay, here also we have called this method. Okay, at the listener and then test listener dot class. Okay, then only our listener will get called, otherwise it will skip, it will not go to the listener. Now I'm executing this code in the debug mode. Just now execution started and it by default call this onStart method at very initial stage. Okay, it will simply initialize this all the this HTML report, this extent report, and it will return to this extent report directly. So I'm pressing F6, it will go to the next step. In F6, I pressed F8, execution started. Still the page is loading. You can see loader at the left top corner. I'm going to commit this code on the Git and I will share the repository link to you so you can use this code. Still it's taking time. The chances of test case failure is high here. I will just refresh the website manually again. Yeah. Okay. Now it's came to the back point. Why? On test start. Our actual test case start now. Okay. So now it will just create a test for us. So now I'll just take this into the watch and I will just show you the result here. It will just return the package.class name. Okay. This result.get test class get name. It will just return the class name with package, which we are printing in this report. We can see here web.testsuite.login test. Okay. I'm just deleting it from here. What is the second? It will actually return the method means test case name. Test1. Okay. So I'll just resume this code. Yeah. Now it come to the test success because test case was short. It will just hit the the class attribute page and then sorry, not home page, and then click on the class attribute link. So now test case got success. That's why it called that on test success by default. So now I'm pressing F6. So now by default it came to this part. Okay, second part. So now what will it print? It will just pass that status as a passed. It will just print the method name, then test case passed with in green color. I'm just pressing the F8 now. Now it is executing second test case. Again test case start. Then again it will just take the different. I'm just copying this whole thing into the watch. It will simply print this com demo test suite. You can see it here, test suite, then class attribute name and actual test case name. We can print it in any format if you require. Okay, so it's our own choice. Pressing F8. Now test case again got success passed, so it will again print this pattern. Pressing F8. Now the test case execution is done, so it will simply use this flush method. So this is mandatory to use this flush method, otherwise your report will not get generated. Okay, F8. The execution is done now. Okay, so we'll go to the project explorer or package explorer. Now we'll look for the test output folder. Now there is nothing. I will just refresh the folder. Okay, now extend report generated here. Now you can see the report. I'm opening this report into the Chrome browser. Now you can see demo. You can see the test name, demo class demo test suite dot class attribute test. Okay, same for the second. It's a first is a test one, second is a test two. Both the test cases are passed. You can see test one, test two passed, and test one test case passed. Okay, so this is for the pass scenario. So now I'll go for the failure scenario. I will just make the one test case failed. What will I do? I will just simply change this expected result. I am just deleting one few character from this line number 32. Executing this code. I think I have executed this in debug run mode. I just stop it. First, I will simply I'm deleting this group. Now I'll execute this in debug mode. Okay, on start of the execution, it will just initialize the classes. I'm just pressing F8 here. Execution start. Yeah, on test start, it will just set the test case name and package name here. Pressing F8. Now the test case got failed because I have changed the expected result. Okay, so this method got called by default on test failure. Okay, so which is the method name? Method name is this test one. Okay, this method name we are going to use here while taking the screenshot name as well. Okay, so we are passing it here as a second parameter in a text screenshot method. Okay, we are printing this log status fail, then we are just printing this test case failed and in red color. F6, this will printed, this will get print. Okay, then here we are taking actual screenshot. Okay, I'm pressing F6. The browser blinked, so it's trying to take a screenshot. Now here is a path actually. Okay, it is returning actual path. So from this path, we will attach screenshot to our actual report. So to attach the report, to attach a screenshot to the report, this is a method actually. The get adds screen capture from path, and this is the path actually. Okay, I'm pressing F6. This is again informational logs we are printing. If you don't want to print, we can skip this. But again, the report should be meaningful. F6. Pressing F8. Executing second test case. Now second test case got passed, so it is went into the on test success. Now at the last, flush method will be called. Now it's done. Now I will open the report. I'm just refreshing the test output folder, pressing F5. Okay. Now you can see the latest report is this one, last one, 23/5, and then time is 11/7. Okay, I'm opening this report. I'm opening this into the Chrome browser. Now you can see one test case got passed, this one second one, and first test case got failed. I failed it intentionally. Okay, so this is a test one. Test case failed. It is in red color. Where it is in red color, we have provided the color here in the code itself. I'm just minimizing this window. So this is on test failure method, and we are just passing the color name at the last. Okay, extend color red. So whichever test case got passed, it should be in red color. Okay, that's why it is in red color here. So again, click on the log below to expand. This is this method get fail, and we can use this. Then result the throwable, get throwable means this part again. This is a output stack trace, we can say, entered here in that report. And a output of this line. Okay, what is this line? Extend report test add screen capture from path, means it will just attach the screenshot from the path. Where is the screenshot? Let me hide some windows. Yeah, this is a screenshot. Actually, you can see this on this page. We got exception. Suppose if your test case is failing in there are multiple pages in the application. If you don't know on which page test case got failed, so this is the right way to take a screenshot where the test case actually got failed. So we can simply open the screenshot from here. Okay, so again we have created another folder in this structure. So this is a structure actually, screenshot. Here also we are taking the screenshot. From here we are again copying the screenshot and pasting, means just attaching the screenshot to the report. Okay, so this is a different folder screenshot, and then these are reports actually generated after execution. So guys, any doubts here how to generate the report, or shall I want to debug, or you need more explanation on this? At least you should know how to integrate this into your framework. That's it. Yeah, Diksha, Nagendra.
Yes, it's little confusing. Till the time we don't try, I think it won't get clear.
No,
Right.
actually, this kind of coding we done hardly in some cases. Actually, this is a one-time effort. If you if you Google it, you will get this code. You simply should know how to fix the code fix. Suppose I am using the driver here. Okay, so this will be give you error. So you should know from where this driver should come. That's it. Other code simply you will get into Google.
Okay.
And this is a one-time
For
effort actually.
language
When we create a
understanding.
framework, at first stage only we just create this listeners and this code, and that's it. We never touch this part.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least I understand the process,
Hmm.
but the flow is difficult to understand while coding. And for
Yeah, I
first
can
time,
understand that part actually, because this is not frequently written code. But
yes,
you should know which is the dependencies required and which is the basic thing. Suppose you should know this class's name at least in your
yes,
mind. Extend report manager, this one.
yes, sir.
That is enough. By using these three class, this is HTML report. It will simply create this outer structure. Okay, this outer structure. And for this structure, this test, this 1 and 2, this only, this left part, it is created by this extend report. And extend test, this third extend test is used to create these inside things. You should remember this part only. That's more than enough.
Okay, sir. For example, first we create the extend Spark reporter,
Hmm.
where we create the report path where our report goes to
Yes.
store.
Yeah.
Then in
And
second part, we give the title of the report and the theme we are using
yes.
and store in an HTML reporter.
Right.
Then we fetch the HTML reporter. We use extend report keyword, extend report variable, and attach use dot attach reporter for viewing the HTML reporter.
Mhm.
Then it will return the extend report. Then we go to the
Then we will just go to the listeners.
listeners.
Just a
Yes.
minute. When you are returning this extend report, return extend report, where you have created the container for it?
Pardon? Miss,
Uh,
where actually we are using that, right? You're
in
talking about the
in last class, you have done the return extend report. This one,
Is
this one,
line
right?
number 39. Yeah.
Yes,
is
yes,
So
yes.
where you have created the container for this?
Container.
Yeah. When we return something, we need to create the
Yes,
container
use.
to catch
No,
it
no,
out.
no. When we return, when you want, we want to use this function somewhere else.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll just copy this create report. I'll just see where I have used. Simply I have used on the on start. You can see we have used this on this on start. So if I delete this, I think I have used this somewhere. Let me check.
that extend report we use here. Start, right.
So where I went. Again, I will go to the listener. If I don't return it, let me check. I think it's really needed. It will simply initialize, that's fine. And then again, we are every time we are referring to the extend manager report. Why we initialize this? Okay, fine.
Also, sir, you give the condition there, extend report equal to
Yeah,
null
that's
and
fine.
equal
That's
to
fine. I'll
false.
explain that as well. Fine. So I will just answer Diksha's question first. So we are returning here. Suppose whichever the state the extend report is having, at the last, what we have to do? We have to use the flush method here at the last, right? So it should have something. So whichever object we have initialized here will be reflect here, and at the last we are just making it a flush. So that's why we have used this return here.
Like we are storing in extend report.
Extend report, yes. But where? In this class only itself. In this class itself. Here only.
Okay.
Okay. Extend report. This is we will just initialize this variable itself directly.
Okay.
And I just put the condition as Nagendra said, it is last. In some cases, we might get some exception, and in that case, this will be null. Okay. So if this is null and we are calling this method, then we will get some another exception. To avoid that, we are just putting this object is not having null value, and then only this message should get called. Simply at initial stage, when you are starting developing the framework, you can simply put this as is, no problem. But whenever you think you need some conditional handling there, so you can simply add the condition according to your own requirement. Okay. When you are start developing the framework, you won't put all the condition at the first time. You will put it's on your requirement basis, not at first time. Okay. So don't think about this condition very much. So try to write simple code and then try to handle the exception if you are getting something from your code.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you give anyone link for the website to try all these things?
Okay. So by today, I'll just commit this code and I will just share the link by tomorrow, Diksha.
Okay.
So I think if you more practice and then you will get some more questions on, so you can ask.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah.
Now one more thing again in this report. Now you can see we are just passing the pass or failed, but we are not passing the action that we are performing in the steps, right? Suppose if you are clicking on the class attribute, we are navigating to the class attribute page, then we are verifying the button. All the steps we are not mentioning here in this class. So that I have not done. So we can simply done that by using this extend test. For example, if I want to print something, I will just copy this extend test. I will go to the test here, not this class attribute test. We'll go to the invoke method. Somewhere, suppose I want to mention that I'm opening the Chrome browser and I'm navigating to this page. Okay, so I will just use code like this, extend test dot,
Get.
yeah, get, right, get, perfect, get dot, and I will just use the log, yes, log. Then I will just use the status dot. Now this is not a pass or failure, right? This is just the information we are passing. Okay, so I will just use the info, and I will just put some code here. Suppose some comment here. Suppose invoke, no, invoke this page. Which page? Class attribute page. Semicolon. Okay, so this we can again integrate as per our own requirement. Okay, so I will just execute this code and I will see if this is printing in our report or not. In some cases we might get this exception, this is not accessible. So again we have to make the code change accordingly, and we should access this method. If we're not getting, we can make this static, or we can just extend that another class to our current class. That modification we have to do. Okay, so report got generated. So I'll just opening the report, new report. I'm just refreshing this page. This is the last one. Now we can see we got this invoked class attribute page with this I means information. Okay, so we can just make this reports more informational based on our own requirement.
Why you use that? I didn't understood that. To pass
Suppose,
any information.
yeah, not any information. Suppose in report, this is a very common, this is a very simple report. Suppose we have to mention the steps as well, what we are doing in the test case actually.
Okay.
So that information we can just print it here in this report. So now by reading this report, we are not getting what we have done in this test case, right? What action we are performing in this test case. This is not a descriptive test case. This is very summarized. We can say it's a very small, this test to pass, but I don't know what is happening in this test case.
So to make it descriptive, we need to give that the syntax.
Yeah, for make it descriptive, we have to mention the steps.
Okay.
So as an example, I just put one line here in the invoke.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if I want to make it more descriptive, I will just copy this code again, and I will just here, not here actually. Actually, we are not putting any log, that we are not using that extend report at test case level. We can just use it at page level only. Okay, I'll just create one method here. Verify page header. Okay, so which is this page? This is a class attribute page. New. It is expecting driver here. Where is the driver? I have to call in this way. And which code I have written here in the test case? I will just copy this. Fine. This I'll copy. Paste it here. Oh, shit. What is happening? Yeah, that's fine. I'm getting some error here. I think I have Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Okay, fine. So I'll just make it correct. Class attribute. Now in this method, we'll simply verify the page header, right? So I have to write this into the log. So I will just use this method extend report get log status info. Now we are just verifying, means actually we are doing the verification. So I will just make it a, instead of info, I will just make it a pass. Okay, pass. So what I'll do, class attribute page. Instead of this, I will just put in this way, expected header class attribute we'll put some colon here and actual header. This is actual header, this is actual header, class attribute page header dot get text. We'll paste it here. Okay. Now I'm calling this method at test case level, verify page header. Instead of this code. Why I have created the method? Because I don't want to call the extend report at test case level. That's why I created a method. Verify page header. Okay. So now I'll execute this code. Run as test ng test. Because if you are printing the report, we should know what actually happened in the test case, but actually which thing we are verifying in the test case. That's why we are just printing more log there. Again, going to the report, refreshed, open the latest report now, 1127. Yes, this one. Opening this into the Chrome browser. Now you can see invoked class attribute page. That is the first informational, and second we are getting the green tick and expected header class attribute, actual header class attribute. Okay, so this kind of log we can print by using this test extend text. Okay.
Okay.
So simply actually if you are printing only this much part, this again will be very confusing what we actually done in the test script. So instead of that, we can just go ahead for this descriptive log in the report. Okay, so any doubt so far? Means how, at least at basic level? Yes, Diksha, clear for you?
Yeah, I got this point, but need to practice once so I may get more clarified.
Okay, okay, fine.
So can you view the code what we write for logs? Where
Pardon, which one?
the logs we write for getting the class attributes and code. We write.
Uh,
If I pay that,
you're talking about this part?
yes, sir. That's what we get there in test
Yes,
report.
yes, right. So this if you are passing pass, it will just create this green icon in the report.
Right.
And this message we have printed. This we can see it here.
And this is for using for extra
Yes, not extra. This is a mandatory actually.
mandatory
At initial,
step.
yeah, at initially I was printing only this much part, but it is expected we should print this much as well. This descriptive log as well, because we should know if the test case is failing and suppose management is reviewing your report. So you should management should know which step you have performed and at what point you are getting the failure.
Yes, in which step we get failure.
Yes. Of course, screenshot is attached, but they don't know the flow. For
Yes,
different flow, for one flow, the test case might work, but for different flow, the test case might get fed at same page. So in that case, you should know, you should mention the flow in the report itself.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. That's the intention to print the descriptive report. So what I can do, if you have Remok ready, so I can just give you two files in here only in the chat window itself, making zip. So you can just use that and try to create your own report. Okay, you might get some what I can say compilation errors. Just try to resolve that, and you'll be able to generate the report directly. Okay, so I'll just try to zip this file. This is the test listener first, and second one is this manager, extent report manager. Again, this is a one-time effort. You don't have to worry much about this part, but at least you should know how to implement in your project. Where it went, don't know. Send to option is there. Yeah, send to compressed folder. Yeah. We'll just drag and drop into the chat window. Very chat window. Yes. Okay, so you can simply download this file and put it into a project respective folder and try to generate the report from this. Okay. Okay, fine. And yeah. And yesterday, few folks were not there. So yesterday we have just moved our weight classes to our common classes. So I'll just show you where I put. So I have created one more class, base test page class, and I have moved that this is a polling weight. This is explicit weight that I have moved to this base test page. So I can use it across all the pages. Okay, and all the pages that I'm using created here, I'm just extending that with the base test page. Okay, so I'm just going inside this base test page again. So you can see we have used weight here. So after, I think I will just commit the code today and I will just show you. You can just take a pool and you can just do the R&D on that. So you will get more question. Okay.
So when we write the explicit of fluent weight, then when it gives you exception like null pointer error, because I'm using, then it gives me null pointer exception every time.
Because reference might be null in that case. I have to see. I cannot tell reference. If your reference is null, in that case you will get null pointer exception.
So how can I resolve this?
So first I have to see the problem. What is the root cause? Based on that only I can just conclude this is a solution. This is the root cause. Okay, we'll see that, Nagendra. Okay. And yesterday also we have discussed the alert class. So alert class, I'll just show you the example. It is alert. I have given you the assignment actually for the XPath. Let me open that assignment. So there was the last question. How to? There is one button. Click me, and after click on that button, we are getting one pop-up. Actually, that is not a pop-up. That is alert. For example, if you are clicking on the click me button, we are getting this pop-up, right? So this is not actually pop-up. We can say it as alert. Okay. So click on OK. We have to create. If you want to click on OK, so we simply have to create an object of the alert class. With this, I've written code somewhere. Yeah, we can see the last method alert accept. So we have to create a alert object, this alert class object, yeah, by using driver dot switch to alert, and we have to use alert dot accept method to click on OK. So we don't have to create a XPath for that OK button. Okay, that we have discussed it. That's I'm repeating again. Okay, fine. Now we can ask the question, any existing question or anything you want to discuss, guys.
Just stay in this page for a minute.
Pardon, who is this?
Shubham sir.
Yes, Shubham. Can you repeat?
Yeah, I'm telling that be in this code or in this utilities page for a minute.
Yeah.
So this utility you have created all the actions right for the action class, that is the click by action class, drag and drop,
Yes.
click, scroll into view, all the methods of all the implementation. You have created a method and you have implemented, right?
Yes. Right.
Okay, got it. No issue.
Okay. So actually at initial stage, when we are starting development, we will not create all the methods. We will create method on the basis of our own requirement. Suppose in some cases we don't need the scroll into view, so we will not create this method. We will not create unnecessarily method. We will create only those method which is actually required in our project.
Yes. We'll create method for those which are repetitive or which
Yes.
you need frequently or which you need at least sometime 3-4 times. So instead of writing
Yes,
code every
yes.
time, so we'll do this.
We will keep it common here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll ask the question later on.
Okay.
Could you just move to the test listener page, test listener class under the listener package?
Why we want to put this into the listener?
No. I don't want to put into the listener. I just want to see the listener class.
Okay, listener class you want to see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now I have created all this extend report, extend test in this extend report manager. That's why I'm just using this extend report manager dot extend report. Just remember this part only. Okay. And then this is a create test method is inside this extend report class.
Yes, got the whole thing of this of creating this extend report manager under utilities, and in the other package, so that we can call this. So
yes, right. We cannot simply put everything in same class, right? So that's not a good practice. So we'll just separating it out.
That's why framework came into existence.
Yes, right. So guys, what I'm expecting actually, you can come up with some questions, suppose which is you think it's a critical or you are not able to automate that scenario. So you can come with that question. So I can just
one question from my side. If you can go to the XPath assignment.
XPath assignment, yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Now in the fourth question or the fourth assignment, the fourth.
This one.
Yes, this one. So what we are trying to do with this loading image, because this is neither not a link, right? And if we click on this, nothing will happen. Correct.
We are not going to click it here.
Yeah, I'm getting that. But when I was trying to do execution on this, I saw that this is not a link, right?
Yes.
So one thing I can do is get the name, right? Get the text over there. One thing I can do. Other than this, I couldn't find any other material for which we can get the execution. Like suppose this loading image is a link, right? Suppose. And if you click on this link, we will find the locator for it. And if you click on this link, it will move to some other page, maybe his or her profile page or something like that.
Yep.
So we are getting some output from it, right?
Yes.
So
suppose means you are telling we are not performing any action, still why we are pending this XPath, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll tell you
what is the actual meaning of this and create locator for loading image.
Right. Okay, fine. I'll tell you. So this is a page.
Yes.
And this is a get new user. Now it's loading. And after 2-3 seconds, this first name, last name get populated here in this UI. Okay, but
Okay.
now in this case it is operating in 2-3 seconds. But
Yes.
in some cases, what will happen when we are clicking on some button or link? This loading image will keep loading till the whole content loaded on the UI. So till that time, we have to wait, and we don't have to verify the steps before image disappear.
Yes.
Right? When the image disappear, then only you have to go ahead and verify the step on the UI.
Okay.
So what we can do, we can simply create a locator for this. We will just check if this, by using the text path, we will just check if when this image disappear, loader image disappear, then only we have to go ahead and verify the text. Otherwise, what will happen? It will just keep verifying the text which is not present on the UI and loader is present on the UI. So in that case, our test case will get failed. So that is the main reason. Create XPath, look for invisibility of that loader, and when that is invisible, then go ahead and verify the text or verify the other steps.
Okay. So have you implemented this? You are having an example. You are having the answers for it for this one?
Yes, I will just show you. I think you are not there in yesterday's class, right?
No, sir.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so no problem. That's fine. So now you can see, yeah, I have written one method here. Not this is in the base. Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry, this is the method.
Yeah, right. Invisibility, right. So what will I do?
You wanted us to do this using this one, right?
Yes, I will just use this invisibility of this web element.
Okay, sir. Let's close this. I will implement it by myself. And
Okay,
if I am unable to, I thought that what is the actual output? What output you want? Actually,
Yes,
what I did using this XPath is I have just copied the image source.
I
have copied the.
But what simply, for example, if you are simply clicking on this get new user and try to verify the first name, where is the first name in the UI? There is loader button. There is no first name immediately.
So
we have to wait. That's why I just put this loader XPath there.
Okay. So and if you go to the code, you can see the image URL over there, right?
Yes. This one.
Yes. So this is never changing. I have seen this is never. It is when it is loading, right? After this is getting changed, it will show something else. Correct?
Yes. When the image is loading, the XPath will be present.
Yes.
The image loaded image invisible. This XPath will not found anywhere.
Okay.
So there is a trick to found the XPath of this loader actually.
Okay.
But I'm using F8 button to stop the loader, but it can't stop.
I'll show it again.
And then other method to stop the loader.
So simply right click, inspect. We have to go to the console, not console, right? So I'm just clicking on the get new user button. I'm simply pressing F8. Just hold. I'm just again pressing F8. What's happening? It is not stopping. Let me try. I think it's a console only.
Sources,
right?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, it's paused. Let me try it one more time. It's pausing.
In source, it's pausing. Okay, I'm going.
In sources, right? It's pausing.
I'm trying element. That's why it's not pausing.
No. Yesterday I told you whenever we want to pause the element on the UI, simply go to the sources tab and press the F8. So it will just pause for you, and now you can create an XPath for this. Otherwise, it will disappear in 2 seconds. So how can you find the XPath there?
By inspect element, we create for XPath for this when it is stopped.
Yeah. Now it's in paused, right? So you can just use this option, select an element. You can hover the mouse here. You will get XPath, right? So you can create XPath from this DOM structure. That's it.
Actually, sir, I'm using invisibility of method using web element, and it's giving error, some type of error, not taking that invisibility of.
Let me. I'm stopping the share, so you can share your screen and let me know. Okay. So I think I'm done from today's session. If you guys want to drop, you can drop.
So what I got